Our boy is just one step away from finishing the final trial and becoming a god. He is entirely focused, pouring all his strength into the energy field. But he never expected his most trusted subordinate to ambush him during his weakest moment. The traitor fiercely stabs our guy right through the back. Crashing to the ground and bleeding heavily, our boy is in absolute shock. He can't believe his right-hand man would betray him at this critical moment. Facing our boy's furious questions, the villain shows no remorse. He brutally grabs his throat, mocking that our guy only got this far relying on external power. To steal the throne, the traitor ruthlessly rips out our boy's core soul. Stripped of his power, our hero is blasted away, falling into despair with endless fury. However, when our boy opens his eyes again, he realizes he's been reborn into the body of a bullied high schooler. Before he can even figure things out, the local bullies surround him. Still processing his rebirth, our boy gets violently grabbed by the school bully. With classmates mocking him from the sidelines, the villain's arrogance is off the charts. Just when the bully thinks he has the upper hand, our boy's max-level instincts kick in. He effortlessly catches the punch and crushes the villain's wrist, making him scream in pure agony. Without missing a beat, our boy unleashes a casual but devastating energy strike, sending the bully flying across the room like a human cannonball. Seeing the arrogant tyrant hit the floor hard, the entire class is utterly shell-shocked. Nobody can believe the former punching bag just one-shot the school's biggest terror. Amidst the stunned silence, his loyal friend Jae-dong nervously urges him to apologize. Recognizing that familiar face, our boy finally confirms he really has traveled back to his high school days. His original high school life was nothing short of a humiliating nightmare. After his family's downfall, he was constantly treated like trash and mercilessly abused by these thugs. But this time, everything changes. In a world where awakening mana and elemental power is everything, the training system is divided into martial arts and medical arts. Back in his past life, our boy was an absolute genius who mastered both paths. Given a second chance to play the game, he is fully determined to reclaim his god-tier power and rule once more. Our boy inspects his new body, only to find his aura and core soul completely sealed. Since he's been given a second chance, recovering his strength is his top priority. Recalling the bitter betrayal, a terrifying murderous intent flashes in his eyes. He vows to uncover the truth behind his father's death and make that backstabbing traitor pay. Looking at the collapsed school bully, our boy remembers the miserable days of his past life. Instead of backing down, he taunts the trembling lackeys to get up for a quick warm-up. He looks down at the bully with absolute contempt, continuing his merciless taunts. This completely shatters the bully's fragile ego, sending him into a fit of humiliated rage. Furious and humiliated, the bully screams at his lackeys to attack. Facing this aggressive mob, our boy doesn't flinch, simply gesturing for all of them to come at once to save time. Forced by their boss, the lackeys grab their chairs and desperately lunge forward. But the moment the fight begins, it turns into an absolute massacre as our guy effortlessly crushes them. Watching his toughest fighters get tossed around like ragdolls, the once arrogant bully is completely terrified. He slumps to the floor, stammering and desperately begging for mercy. To completely break his spirit, our boy sneers and steps closer. Giving him a taste of his own medicine, he forces the former bully to wipe his shoes clean, returning every ounce of past humiliation. The once arrogant bully is now desperately wiping our boy's shoes. Taking in the sight of his sweet revenge, Tae-wook coldly accepts the pathetic apology. After giving a stern final warning to never try this again, our boy doesn't hesitate. With one swift kick, he sends the trash flying right out of his sight. The whole class is left in absolute shock, wondering if Tae-wook was hiding his power all along. Just then, the kind-hearted Ji-yeon walks in, sending the remaining goons scrambling for the exit. Seeing his bruised face, Ji-yeon quickly offers him some tissues and money for the nurse. Touched by her unwavering kindness that hasn't changed since his past life, Tae-wook warmly declines. Back at his desk, our boy finds his textbook torn to shreds. He can't help but sigh at such childish bullying, but thankfully, his glasses-wearing buddy slides over to share his book. Tae-wook reassures his friend that their days of being bullied are finally over. But before they can relax, the corrupt homeroom teacher storms in screaming. Looks like our boy's peaceful school life will have to wait. With the homeroom teacher furious over the classroom brawl, our boy decides to keep a low profile to avoid trouble. He quietly steps out to the balcony for some fresh air. Looking out from the balcony, he falls into memories of his past life. After his father passed away, his mother hid him away, but he never gave up searching for the truth. He had endured endless hardships to uncover clues about his father, only to lose everything at the very end due to Anutha's betrayal. The frustration of that failure still burns within him. Just then, a commotion downstairs breaks his train of thought. Our boy looks down to see Ha Tae-young, the young master of the Ha family, marching into the campus with a group of goons. Seeing that face brings back humiliating memories. In his past life, right after his father's death, the Ha family ruthlessly canceled the engagement, forcing him to sign the annulment papers. Powerless back then, he was not only mocked in public, but mercilessly beaten into the ground by Tae-young and his thugs. That helplessness is something he will never forget. But things are different now. Feeling the surging power within him, our boy lets out a cold smirk. He is no longer the pathetic weakling he once was. While Tae-young arrogantly orders his men to hunt him down, our boy decides to save them the trouble. He reveals himself, staring down at the unwelcome guests from above. While the bystanders are still confused, a furious Tae-young orders his thugs to destroy him. As the goons charge forward like rabid dogs, the battle to wash away his past humiliation is finally about to begin. Faced with these arrogant bullies, our boy decides it's time for a proper lesson. With his eyes glowing red, he strikes instantly, sending 2 goons flying into the sky like broken kites. Seeing his underlings get wiped out, the arrogant Ha Tae-young is completely stunned. Our guy just coldly tells them that since he already signed the engagement cancellation as they wanted, they'll pay for pushing him further. Hearing our boy openly mention the cancelled engagement, the surrounding students are shocked. Completely humiliated, Ha Tae-young loses his mind and screams at his remaining men to attack together and kill him. Facing a gang of attackers striking from the air, our boy stands his ground, erupting with a terrifying purple aura. Watching this overwhelming power, Ha Tae-young finally realizes this man is no longer the Kong Tae-wook he knew. Driven by pure rage, Ha Tae-young decides to attack himself. He throws a heavy punch charged with fiery energy, his mind still screaming in panic how could a normal high schooler master such advanced martial arts. But in the face of absolute power, those flashy flames are useless. Our guy counters with a lightning-fast high kick. The once arrogant young master collapses to his knees, violently coughing up blood. The blonde villain is in pure disbelief, wondering how a high-tier guy like him got crushed. Still acting tough, our boy just grabs him by the collar. Ignoring the villain's questions, our boy easily tosses him aside. He coldly pulls out the engagement contract, making sure everyone gets a good look. In front of the whole crowd, he rips the contract to shreds. He boldly declares that they aren't dumping him, he's the one rejecting the Ha family. Left in the dust, the blonde villain throws a furious tantrum, swearing revenge. But our guy doesn't even look back, completely ignoring the useless thugs. Amidst the shocked whispers of his classmates, our boy heads straight home. As he opens the door, he's greeted by his mother's warm smile. But her smile quickly fades as she spots the fresh bruises on his hands. Seeing her tears, he gently explains that holding back would only invite more bullying. Holding his bruised hands, his mom blames herself. Flashing back to his father's tragic death, she cries that she couldn't face her late husband if anything happened to him. She just wants him to graduate safely, but our boy's eyes grow sharp. To eliminate the threats for good, he finally confronts her about the dark truth behind his father's murder. To uncover the truth behind his father's death, our boy presses his mother for clues. But seeing her tearful pleas for him to stay safe, he realizes now isn't the time to push. Holding his mother's hand, he gently reassures her that he'll stay out of trouble. To lighten the heavy mood, he smiles and asks for her homemade stewed potatoes. His mom is completely baffled, pointing out he just had them yesterday. He awkwardly laughs it off, and the two sit down to enjoy a heartwarming dinner together. Alone in his room, our boy reflects on the day. He humiliated the school bully, but retaliation is inevitable. Knowing his current body is far too weak, he immediately starts cultivating. Wasting no time, he heads to the mountains under the night sky for some extreme physical training. After running all night, he's panting hard, but his stamina has finally taken a massive leap. Resting by a tree, he slowly opens his eyes with a sharp red glint. With his physical foundation finally set, he's ready to begin his true, hardcore martial arts training. At school, his buddy begs to become his disciple. Our guy agrees, telling him to meet after dinner. But during the extreme night run, his friend is left gasping for air, instantly regretting his life choices. In the muddy forest, Jae-dong is already face down in the dirt begging for mercy. But our boy shows no pity, coldly stating that the warm-up has just begun. Pushing himself to the absolute limit, our boy carries a massive weight bag and marches through the rugged mountain paths. This insane routine leaves Jaedong completely speechless. Dragging his heavy steps, he stops in front of a massive boulder. Taking a deep breath, he instantly shifts into a combat stance, channeling all his power. With a deafening boom, a fierce shockwave blasts the giant rock to pieces. Feeling the surging energy within, our guy realizes his growth rate in this life is unbelievably fast. He immediately sits cross-legged to cultivate, radiating a brilliant aura of energy. Watching from the sidelines, Jaedong stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend this is the same guy who used to be bullied. While catching his breath, our boy calmly assesses the situation. His current body barely meets the threshold, but facing the Ha family's looming threats, he knows he must train relentlessly to survive. The scene shifts back home. Seeing his mother overworked and exhausted, our guy gently suggests she quit her housekeeping job, promising to take care of the family from now on. However, she simply smiles and tells him to focus on his studies instead of worrying about money. As the door closes, our boy abruptly stands up, silently vowing to change everything with his own strength. After rummaging through a hidden stash, our boy finally retrieves the belongings left by his father. Breaking the seal, he uncovers an ancient martial arts manual. Flipping through the secret techniques, he realizes that with this manual in hand, he has the perfect bait to lure out his father's true murderer. Looking at his hard-working mother in the kitchen, he quietly resolves to settle this hidden grudge himself, ensuring his family stays out of danger. Following the clues, he arrives alone at Kyungpung Gym, hoping to find an old comrade who used to know his father well. Instructor Bang turns around in disbelief. Recognizing the grown-up boy as his old friend's son, he excitedly pats Taewook's shoulders with a warm smile. After catching up on some warm childhood memories, our guy doesn't beat around the bush and directly asks about the truth behind his father's past. At the mention of his father, the instructor avoids eye contact and excuses himself. Watching him walk away, our boy realizes the man has been struggling to hide from enemies all these years. Suddenly, the gym doors are violently kicked open. A group of hostile thugs barge in, and the arrogant leader actually orders our boy around like an errand kid. Talk about a huge mistake. Facing the thugs causing trouble at the gym, our boy coldly questions their motives. But the ignorant villains just laugh and continue to mock him. It turns out these thugs are here to extort money. Since the gym has been struggling and can't pay, the arrogant leader completely ignores the older man's pleas. Disregarding the poor man's begging, the violent gang not only starts trashing the gym, but also mercilessly kicks him to the ground. Seeing the injured man groaning in pain, our boy rushes over to help him, his eyes burning with fury. Meanwhile, the arrogant villain tells him to back off. While the goons are still gloating, our boy bursts forward with inhuman speed. Before the leader can even blink, his throat is locked in an iron grip. Pinned to the floor with a single hand, the suffocating villain struggles to beg for mercy. But our furious guy coldly warns him to stay completely still unless he wants his neck snapped. Fearful of provoking the gang's powerful backers, the gym owner tries to stop him. But our boy just smirks, claiming he wouldn't care even if they brought a whole truckful of these scumbags. Desperate and pinned down, the boss screams for his underlings to attack. But as our guy easily blasts them away, it's clear this one-sided beatdown has just begun. Faced with a sudden chokehold from behind, our boy doesn't panic at all. He unleashes his aura, instantly sending the thug flying across the room. Another thug tries a sneak attack with a baton, but our guy takes the hit and snatches the weapon. He strikes back with crushing force, knocking the enemy out cold. The last standing thug sweats bullets, desperately threatening revenge. Unfazed, our boy smirks and drops the name of his high school bully, perfectly directing their anger at someone else. After clearing out the trash, he turns to confront the gym instructor. Hearing him casually expose the secrets of martial arts, his father's old comrade is left utterly speechless. The real reason for his visit is to uncover the truth behind his father's tragic murder. However, the instructor turns away, stubbornly denying that he knows anything about it. Even after our boy points out that he's hiding under a fake name, the instructor refuses to talk and abruptly kicks him out. It seems the conspiracy is far deeper than expected. Despite the man's desperate attempts to talk him out of it, our boy stands firm. The burning anger of his father's murder simply won't let him back down. Seeing our guy bow so deeply in plea, the man can only sigh. He knows his old friend wouldn't have wanted his son caught in this deadly mess. Giving in, the man pulls a heavy case from a hidden drawer. Carrying his father's legacy on his back, our boy finally takes his first step toward vengeance. Walking down the street, he realizes his current strength isn't enough to face his enemies. But then, a crucial figure from his past life suddenly crosses his mind. Memories from his past life flood back. Back then, he was just a helpless student drowning in a muddy puddle by some thugs, until a white-haired elder stepped in. Facing the arrogant thugs, the elder just sneered. Before they could even blink, the bullies found themselves tied up and hanging upside down from the trees. This benefactor not only saved his life, but also guided him into martial arts. Tragically, the elder later passed away after failing to break through the highest realm. In this life, our boy wants to grow stronger and change the old man's tragic fate. Guided by fading memories, he dives deep into the familiar forest. Peeking through the leaves, that familiar figure finally appears. He found the master, but figuring out how to approach this eccentric powerhouse is gonna be a whole new challenge. Deep in the forest, our boy finally tracks down Old Man Quack, his benefactor from a past life. Preparing to break through his realm, the old man is highly skeptical of this young stranger. Seeing right through the chaotic energy inside the old man, our boy knows forcing a breakthrough would be fatal. Wasting no time, he firmly presses Quack's shoulder and tells him to sit down. As our guy pulls out Quack's own acupuncture needles, the old man instinctively grabs his wrist, completely on guard and demanding to know what he is planning. Calmly explaining the danger of an internal explosion, our boy jokingly claims he learned these exact techniques from Quack himself. Recognizing his own style, the old man finally decides to trust him. The moment the needles are set, dark clouds gather overhead as the terrifying lightning tribulation approaches. Gazing at the stormy sky, our boy confidently promises that nothing will harm the old man under his watch. With a deafening roar, violent lightning tears through the night sky and strikes Old Man Quack directly. Under this overwhelming heavenly power, the true test has only just begun. The fierce lightning finally fades. Thanks to our boy's protection, the old man safely passes his grueling trial, genuinely grateful for the help despite their exhaustion. Helping the weakened elder to his feet, our guy listens as the old man earnestly advises him to balance both martial and medicinal arts without neglecting the fundamentals. Finding the elders lecturing a bit amusing given his low realm, our boy still grabs his wrist and transfers a surge of pure energy as a reward for his good intentions. As the energy circulates, our boy is pleasantly surprised to discover that the intense ordeal actually helped him break through, boosting his realm by 2 entire levels. Feeling the immense power, the elder immediately drops to one knee, begging to become his disciple. However, our guy politely declines, explaining he already has a master and must leave soon. After bidding the elder farewell, our boy hurries through the night forest to get home to his mother. But suddenly, a terrified girl's scream shatters the silence. Recognizing his classmate Choi Ji-yeon's voice, our boy peers through the bushes. Seeing the thugs cornering her, he slips into the shadows, his eyes turning ice cold as he prepares to strike. Facing these bullies, our boy doesn't waste a single breath. He flashes behind them like a ghost, and sends the leader flying with a devastating punch before anyone can react. Before the rest can even blink, our guy unleashes a flurry of relentless strikes. In a flash, the entire gang is wiped out and left groaning on the dirt. Watching their buddies get utterly destroyed, the surviving thugs completely lose their minds. The former tough guys are now trembling on the ground, begging for mercy. After taking out the trash without breaking a sweat, our boy calmly adjusts his collar and calls the cops to come pick up the leftovers. With the threat neutralized, his gaze softens as he drapes his jacket over the terrified Ji-yeon, gently asking if she's hurt and able to stand. Still shaken, Ji-yeon tries to get up with his support, but a sharp pain makes her stumble. It looks like she badly sprained her ankle during the struggle. Seeing this, our boy immediately takes a knee to inspect the injury. He tears a piece of fabric and carefully bandages her ankle to keep it stable. After the quick first aid, he patiently encourages her to try walking. The immediate danger is gone, but making it out of this dark, remote forest safely is a whole new challenge. With her pain completely gone, Ji-yeon playfully praises our boy's magic hands. Relieved that she's okay, the two of them head out of the forest together. Back in the bustling city, Ji-yeon invites him to grab a bite, highly recommending her favorite local skewer spot. Our boy worries about her family waiting up, but Ji-yeon is in no rush to head home, so they grab a table to eat and chat. Over the meal, Ji-yeon reflects on their school bullies, realizing that with our guy's true strength, those thugs are nothing but a joke. Taking advantage of the relaxed vibe, Ji-yeon finally gives in to her curiosity and carefully asks about the rumors of his engagement to the Ha family heiress. Our boy openly confirms the promise. It traces back to their childhood, when a young Yun-jae was terrified she wouldn't live long enough to grow up due to her rare illness. Seeing her heartbroken back then, our boy wiped away her tears and made a pinky promise. He would cure her, and when that day came, they would get married. Recalling the past, our boy's eyes grow serious. He knows his fiancée would never betray him, but her ruthless family definitely won't let them be in peace. At the Ha family estate, Yun-jae is fiercely arguing with her father. Learning he canceled her engagement to our boy for family politics, she is absolutely furious. Facing her father's explosive rage, the stubborn Yun-jae doesn't back down. She simply turns to leave, refusing the arrangement and deciding to explain everything to our boy herself. Meanwhile, a villain who previously caught a brutal beatdown from our guy is raging hard. Smashing his desk, he roars our boy's name, still plotting his revenge. Back at the school field, the local bully clearly hasn't learned his lesson. He struts up to our boy with his crew, leaving the purple-haired girl rolling her eyes at their antics. Knowing he can't win a fistfight, the bully challenges our boy to a track event. He confidently bets that if he loses, he will drop to his knees whenever they cross paths. But if our boy loses, he must call the bully boss in front of the whole school. Not even blinking at the absurd demand, our guy simply nods and accepts. As they head to the track, the purple-haired girl can't help but worry. After all, the bully is a known athletic standout with serious physical prowess. Up in the building, some rich snobs watch from above, eagerly waiting for our boy to embarrass himself. Down on the track, the stage is set for a showdown. The 3,000-meter race officially begins. Facing the school bully's provocation, our boy isn't fazed at all. He even generously offers to let him have a one-lap head start. As the runners dash forward, the bully assumes our boy is just bluffing. However, our guy stands perfectly still, calmly watching them pull away into the distance. Just as the bully thinks he has the win in the bag and gets ready to gloat, our boy finally takes his stance. In a flash, he bursts forward with terrifying speed. Our boy sweeps across the track like a hurricane. Seeing his former victim turn into a speed monster completely shatters the bully's reality, especially while our guy casually checks his watch. The bully finishes completely exhausted and tries to accuse our guy of cheating. Thankfully, his friend Jaedong recorded the entire race, leaving absolutely zero room for excuses. Looking down at the panting bully, our boy coldly reminds him to keep his promise, get on his knees every time they cross paths. This utter humiliation leaves the bully grinding his teeth in rage. Unable to swallow his pride, the bully storms off to call for backup. The very next morning, Jaedong rushes over to warn our boy that thugs are waiting outside for revenge. Despite his friend's panic, our boy just gives a reassuring smile. For someone who survived a past life of bloody battles, dealing with a few street gangsters is the easy part. After school, Jaedong volunteers to be his human shield. Hearing this, our boy gets a flashback to his past life's betrayal, making him seriously doubt the word friend. Jaedong's concerned voice quickly pulls him back to reality. Seeing his genuine companion, our guy hides his cold gaze and hands over a popsicle to lighten the mood. The peace shatters when a gang of 30 armed thugs blocks their path. While Jaedong is terrified, our boy calmly eats his popsicle, instantly guessing the school bully sent them. Thinking they have the upper hand, the gang leader arrogantly threatens him. Before he can finish, our boy smashes his popsicle straight into the thug's face for ruining his snack. Enraged by the disrespect, the thugs blindly charge forward. But for our guy, this isn't even a warm-up. With one swift kick, he sends the first attacker flying backward. Desperate, one thug pulls out a knife. Our boy effortlessly deflects the blade, kicks him away, and stands protectively in front of his friend with a freezing, murderous glare. The remaining thugs rush in hoping to overwhelm him. But they messed with the wrong guy. Our boy dashes into the crowd, turning the fight into an absolute one-sided massacre. Our boy easily takes down the gang. The previously arrogant leader, now bruised and begging for mercy, is so impressed by our guy's strength that he desperately asks to become his underling. His glasses-wearing friend watches in disbelief, amazed that one fight resulted in a whole gang of followers. Ignoring their frantic pleas, our boy simply calls his friend and casually walks away. Back in the classroom, our boy brushes off his friend's gossip. However, a new trouble arises as the petty rich kid Lee Yun-jae has explicitly called him out for a fight. Knowing his enemy's persistent nature, our boy realizes hiding is useless. Since they won't back down, he decides to face them head-on and settle things with his fists. Arriving alone at the rooftop, our boy faces an arrogantly Yun-jae, who warns him to stay away from the girl. When our guy ignores him, the furious rich kid immediately orders his men to attack. The two thugs unleash a powerful pink aura, proving they are actual martial artists, not just street punks. Unfazed, our boy simply sees them as the perfect training dummies to test his current strength. As the duo charges at him aggressively, our boy instantly assesses their weak 2-star level. His eyes turn cold, planting his feet firmly as he prepares to counterattack. Thinking they could actually hurt him was a mistake. In a flash, our boy moves with terrifying speed, effortlessly launching both attackers into the air with a single devastating strike. Facing the sudden siege, our boy doesn't show a hint of panic. The enemies might have numbers and flashy moves, but in the face of absolute power, it's nothing but a quick warm-up. Seeing his goons get overwhelmed, the leader steps up, arrogantly demanding our boy to kneel and beg for mercy. Instead of backing down, our guy just smirks, mocking that the villain will be the one begging soon. An arrogant villain immediately unleashes a fierce lightning attack, only to be completely evaded. While the guy is still shocked by our boy's absurd speed, he gets instantly blasted away with a devastating counterpunch. With the warm-up over, our boy gets into his fighting stance. Furious and humiliated, the blonde young master Yun-jae curses and charges right at him, only to be brutally kicked away without mercy. Enraged by the humiliation, Yun-jae goes all out, throwing a heavy punch wrapped in flames and lightning. Completely fearless, our boy meets him head-on, causing a massive clash of sheer power. This earth-shattering clash leaves the spectating goons absolutely stunned. They just can't fathom how a seemingly 3-star nobody could perfectly block their young master's deadly strike. Facing the brutal attack, our boy secretly realizes that without the old man's energy, he would have been crushed. The villain is barely standing but still tries to act tough in front of his goons. Ignoring his bleeding fists, Taewook pushes through the pain to mock his enemies. Realizing he's outmatched, the gray-haired villain drops a weak threat and retreats with his men. Once they are completely out of sight, our guy finally drops the tough act. He was completely bluffing. If the fight had dragged on, he would have lost for sure. He needs to get out of there fast. Dragging his heavily bleeding body, he doesn't get far before a frantic voice calls out to him. He turns around, surprised by who just showed up. It's his fiancée, Yun-jae. Hearing her family unilaterally canceled their engagement, she had a huge fight with her father and ran away from home just to find him. Seeing Taewook in such a battered state breaks her heart. Even though he tries to brush it off, she firmly grabs his injured arm, insisting on treating his wounds right away. Looking at the girl who abandoned her family just for him, our boy's hardened heart finally melts. He sits down quietly to let her bandage him up, a rare moment of peace amidst the looming threats. Seeing our boy covered in wounds, she is heartbroken. She can't understand why he's fighting so hard when his late father was strictly against him entering the martial arts world. Hearing this, our guy realizes the truth. His father kept secrets just to protect him. Seeing him deep in thought, she quickly promises to ask her own father for answers. Our boy scoffs, knowing her manipulative family would never tell the truth. But seeing her guiltily use her glowing powers to heal his arm, his eyes soften with gratitude. Knowing his mother would be worried sick, she sweetly suggests he rest at her hotel. When he hesitates, she playfully smiles, mentioning she has a small favor to ask anyway. It turns out she wants to visit Coach Gu, an old childhood friend, and asks our boy to tag along. Unable to say no to her, he finally nods in agreement. Arriving at the hotel, our boy finally gets a quiet place to heal and cultivate. Watching him focus, she silently vows to make her stubborn father accept him no matter what. Before they know it, it's 5 a.m. After a full night of cultivation, our guy opens his eyes, fully refreshed. As she leans in to check his arm, a new day of challenges begins. Seeing Ji-Yun sleeping soundly by his side, our boy felt a wave of warmth. As he stretched, she woke up and immediately checked on his recovery. Ji-Yun wanted to suggest finding Mr. Gu right away, but a sudden headache struck her. Our guy quickly stepped in to support her shoulder, his eyes full of concern. Even though Ji-Yun forced a smile and blamed it on standing up too fast, our boy noticed her pale face. He decided it was time to hurry up and check on Mr. Gu's safety. Walking down the street, Ji-Yun felt bad for coming empty-handed. But turning around, she saw our boy had already prepared a thoughtful gift, making her admire him even more. Meanwhile, the dojo had already been reduced to ruins. Kneeling on the ground and covered in sweat, Mr. Gu fiercely refused to hand over the item, even under the threat of death. Realizing interrogations were useless, the mysterious attacker went for the kill. Despite his desperate counterattack, Mr. Gu was completely outmatched and sent flying while coughing up blood. Staring down at the defeated Mr. Gu, the cold-blooded villain still looked frustrated. Just where exactly was this deadly mysterious item hidden? Seeing the smashed door, our boy instantly knows something is terribly wrong. Without hesitation, he and his fiancée rush into the dojo, desperately searching for Mr. Gu. They find Mr. Gu lying on the floor, severely injured and completely unconscious. Our boy sprints over, frantically trying to wake him up and check his wounds. Meanwhile, the attacker hides in the shadows with a cold smirk. Recognizing the daughter of the powerful Ha family, he decides to slip away, leaving our boy seething with rage. Yun-jae quickly checks his pulse and realizes he's barely holding on. They rush him to the emergency room, and thanks to Mr. Gu sealing his own acupoints, he narrowly survives. Sitting by the hospital bed, the two try to piece the puzzle together. Our boy strongly suspects this brutal assassination attempt is directly linked to his father's tragic death. As it gets late, our boy decides to head home briefly to sort things out. He asks Yun-jae to stay behind and look after Mr. Gu, which she happily agrees to do. Right after our boy leaves, Yun-jae's phone starts buzzing. She looks down to see an unexpected call from her ruthless father. It seems the real trouble is just getting started. Finding out Yun-jae ran away, the head of the Ha family blows up over the phone. But Yun-jae doesn't flinch, firmly demanding he reinstate her engagement with our boy if he wants her back. Glancing at the unconscious man in the hospital bed, Yun-jae realizes her family is playing dirty. She fiercely warns her father that if he lays a finger on our guy, she'll cut ties forever. Fuming after the call, the patriarch immediately turns his wrath on Ha Tae-young and his father, sternly questioning how they managed to completely mess up the engagement cancellation at the school. To cover up the humiliating fact that he got utterly crushed by our boy, Ha Tae-young desperately makes up excuses, claiming that Kang Tae-wook arrogantly insulted their family first. Seeing the patriarch's dark expression, Tae-young's father quickly steps in to apologize. The boss cuts them off, ordering them to focus solely on bringing Yun-jae back quietly, forbidding any more reckless moves. Out in the hallway, a frustrated Tae-young starts cursing our boy again, only to get a swift smack to the head from his own dad. Warned to stop causing trouble, he reluctantly swallows his pride. Returning home late at night, our boy casually brushes off his mom's questions and quickly heads to the shower. His mom grows suspicious of his secretive behavior. Meanwhile, he's already planning to sneak out and meet his fiancée once she's asleep. Suddenly, a knock breaks the peace. His mom opens the door, only to find a group of intimidating men in suits asking for our guy. Hearing the commotion, our boy walks out with wet hair. Seeing the uninvited guests, he immediately goes on high alert. He quickly runs through his list of enemies in his head. The gray-haired leader smirks, claiming their family head merely wants to invite him over. Thinking he's in trouble, his mom panics and tries to apologize. To keep her safe, our boy cleverly sends her on an errand to buy snacks. The moment the door clicks shut behind his mom, his eyes turn icy cold. He drops the act, realizing a midnight clash is inevitable. Just as our boy finishes washing up, the Lee family's lapdogs come knocking. The lead secretary arrogantly threatens to break his limbs just to drag him away. Wanna fight? Our guy isn't scared at all. Skipping the chatter, he charges straight in and effortlessly blocks the two goons' fierce pounce. Then, a violent energy erupts from his body. Even shirtless, our boy easily overpowers these clueless thugs with his terrifying inner strength. Seeing his men get instantly crushed, the lead secretary realizes something is wrong. He thought it'd be an easy catch, but is shocked to find our boy's power far exceeds their intel. Left with no choice, the secretary unleashes all his power, aiming for a quick end. The massive energy shockwave forces our boy to momentarily brace himself. But fighting above his realm is nothing new for our guy. He stomps the floor, grabs the secretary's wrist, and lands a devastating punch that sends the expert flying. This heavy blow leaves the secretary completely paralyzed against the wall. However, our boy stops his fist right in front of his face, sparing his life for now. Realizing the tables have completely turned, the secretary pretends to stay cool and hastily retreats with his men. Our boy glares coldly, warning them not to push their luck again. Once the enemies are gone, our guy clutches his chest and lets out a long sigh. Despite looking dominant, taking hits from a high-level expert was actually a very close call. Fresh off a fierce battle, our boy realizes his energy has completely transformed. But he knows his combat experience is still lacking if he wants to survive against other natural practitioners. He needs more real fights. Just then, his mom rushes in and catches him red-handed. Seeing his impressive physique, she immediately figures out he's been training in secret all this time. Since he can't hide it anymore, our guy decides to come clean. Surprisingly, his mom isn't mad. Instead, she reveals a massive family secret. Just like his late father, he is a rare natural practitioner. Eager for answers, our boy asks if she knows who killed his dad. She shakes her head, but mentions that Mr. Gu, an old comrade of his father, might hold the key to the truth. Just as he's about to check on Mr. Gu, his fiancée Yun Jae calls with urgent news. Her panicked voice delivers a bombshell: Mr. Gu has mysteriously vanished from the hospital. Hearing this, our boy's fury ignites instantly. He and his mom sprint through the pouring rain to meet up with Yun Jae at the hospital. But with this sudden disappearance, it seems the real conspiracy is just unfolding. At the hospital, Taewook's mother and Yun Jae finally meet. But our boy is in no mood for pleasantries. Finding the missing Mr. Gu is the top priority. Hearing that Mr. Gu vanished while Yun Jae was briefly away, his mother blames herself. However, our guy notices something strange: the room is too clean for a struggle. Could he have left on his own? Despite his growing suspicions, Taewook keeps his thoughts to himself to avoid panicking his mother, casually explaining they just wanted to question Mr. Gu when he woke up. Horrified that someone might be targeting Mr. Gu, his mother asks for suspects. Our boy recalls how Mr. Gu flatly refused to talk about his father's death, sensing a dark connection. His mother then drops a massive revelation: Mr. Gu and his father were secretly investigating a mysterious organization together. The key to unraveling this conspiracy rests entirely with the missing man. With no more clues left at the hospital, our guy decides they should head home. Walking up to his rundown apartment building, Yun Jae's heart aches at the tough life he's been living. Once inside, his mother carefully brings out a long black box. To help her son protect himself, she finally decides to hand over a hidden relic: the very sword his father once wielded. Looking at the starlight radiating from the silver blade, our boy immediately senses its incredible energy. As the beautiful sword slides from its sheath, the curtain truly rises on his path to vengeance. Our boy struggles to draw the mysterious sword left by his father. His mother warmly explains that it was sealed to prevent theft, and unlocking it requires the blade's recognition. Hearing this, he playfully asks if the sword can't recognize its master's son. Instantly, the sentient blade erupts with blinding light, giving him a very clear answer. Enduring a massive surge of wild energy, he tightly grips the hilt. As the lightning settles, he is stunned to realize the power coursing through the blade is his father's. His mother mentions this sword can track its missing twin held by Coach Gu. Taewook quickly deduces that the exact same group is behind both his father's death and the coach's disappearance. Realizing the true danger approaching, our boy sends his mother out of the city for her own safety. With his mind at ease, he's ready to hunt down the masterminds. Watching the two of them, Taewook's mother couldn't help but express how lucky her son is to have a companion like Yun Jae. The sudden praise left our usually composed duo blushing. As it was getting late, Yun Jae gently held our boy's hand. Being the gentleman he is, Taewook offered his bedroom to her, deciding to crash in the living room for the night. With a knowing smile, his mom reminded him to take good care of her. As they reached the bedroom door together, the atmosphere grew noticeably sweet and a little tense. Rolling around in Taewook's bed, Yun Jae was blushing furiously. She knew her hot-headed brother would lose it if he found out, but then again, she is his official fiancée. Too excited to sleep, she even sneaked to the door to eavesdrop. Meanwhile, resting outside, our boy easily picked up on her little movements with his sharp senses, letting out a soft, knowing smile. The scene shifts to a hidden traditional dojo deep in the night. A familiar figure, Taewook's father's old comrade Coach Gu, is walking alone, seemingly searching for something important from his memories. He stops in front of a massive stone statue and expertly presses against the stone wall. With a sharp mechanical click, a hidden mechanism springs open. As the secret compartment reveals a deep underground passage, Coach Gu takes a deep breath. Muttering about the heavy secret his old friend left behind, he steps down into the unknown darkness. In a dim secret room, Coach Gu approaches his late friend's belongings. Seeing the familiar sword, his mind is instantly pulled back to the past. 15 years ago, the mysterious assassin group Wolfpack emerged, causing a bloodbath. To uncover the truth, he and Taewook's father teamed up to investigate secretly. But the enemy was overwhelmingly powerful. Taewook's father was brutally murdered on a rainy night. That feeling of absolute helplessness still torments Coach Gu today. Gripping the blue diary, Coach Gu closes his eyes and makes a silent vow. Even if it costs him everything, he will protect our boy and avenge his friend. The scene shifts to the station. To prepare for the upcoming war, our boy is sending his mother to a safe shelter, promising he'll return safely. Holding back her tears, his mother smiles and waves goodbye. With Yunjae firmly by his side, our boy is ready to face the incoming storm. With his family secured, our boy regroups with his crew. The real battle has just begun, and the enemies hiding in the shadows better be ready. Faced with sudden intruders, our boy silently clenches his fists, his gentle eyes turning icy cold. The blonde leader, under family orders, tries to force Yunjae to return. However, she firmly rejects them, refusing to back down. Seeing her resist, the blonde turns his hostility toward our guy, arrogantly warning him to stay out of their family business. Unfazed, our guy mocks the scar from his last beating. Yunjae joins in, bluntly calling them nothing more than the family's guard dogs. Before they can yap any more, our boy makes his move. With a swift palm strike, he sends the guard dog flying, teaching him a hard lesson. Panicked, the remaining thugs drop a few empty threats and flee. Our guy just stands his ground, coldly welcoming whatever comes next. They retreat to a cafe to catch their breath. But Yunjae remains worried, knowing full well that the real danger lurking in the shadows has just begun. Unfazed by hidden threats, our boy is just worried about his fiancée being away from home. But Yunjae playfully insists she's not going back unless he chases her away. Since that's the case, our guy suggests she stay at his house instead of a hotel. Hearing this, the white-haired girl lights up with pure joy. However, this sweet moment is witnessed by the blonde rich kid spying in the shadows. Seeing them happy together makes him seethe with absolute jealousy. Later, the two begin examining the sword left by his father. Our boy reveals he felt his father's energy inside it, instantly sparking her curiosity. Unexpectedly, the sword reacts violently the moment she touches it. Our boy is shocked, as even his mom didn't trigger this, and asks if she's been secretly training. She sighs, saying her father once claimed she had no talent for martial arts. To find out the truth, our boy firmly takes her hand to check her internal energy. What he finds completely shocks him. While normal people have empty energy centers, Yunjae's body harbors an incredibly massive, glacier-like freezing power. Realizing something is off, our boy seriously asks if she's hiding anything. With a soft smile, she finally confesses that she's suffered from a rare, terminal cold energy disease since childhood. After checking in with the white-haired girl, our boy sits cross-legged to meditate. Closing his eyes, he clears his mind to seek out that mysterious guidance. He continuously calls out to his father in his mind. Suddenly, the surroundings shift into a dense mist, and a deeply familiar voice calls his name. Turning toward the voice, he sees his father standing there in a suit. Staring at the man who was supposed to be dead, our boy tears up, asking if this is real. His father reaches out with loving eyes, but when our boy tries to hold his hand, it passes right through. The man before him is merely a remnant spirit tied to the sword. Suppressing his grief, our boy vows to get revenge. But his father gravely warns him that the enemy is incredibly dangerous, and they will only appear once he is strong enough to unseal the sword. Before leaving, his father instructs him to find Coach Gu to unseal his meridians. As the spirit dissipates into starlight, our boy is left with a challenging path to become the ultimate martial artist. Waking up from that mystical state, his father's words to keep training still echoed in his mind. Seeing our boy suddenly gasp awake, Yunjae quickly rushed over in concern. Hearing that getting stronger means seeing his father again, our boy is instantly fired up. And of course, Yunjae is right there giving him her absolute support. To uncover the truth, our boy decides to find the missing Coach Gu immediately. Knowing the dangers ahead, he tries to send his fiancée back to school, but she refuses to be left behind. Unfazed by his worries, Yunjae stands her ground. She makes it crystal clear that no matter the danger, she is staying right by our boy's side. Back at school, our guy's arrival immediately causes a stir. The news of him crushing the school bully has spread, leaving his bespectacled friend completely in awe of his unfazed vibe. When his buddy excitedly offers to treat him to skewers, our boy politely declines. With training and finding Coach Gu on his mind, he has no time to waste on evening study sessions. Though his unusually good mood raises some suspicion from his friend, our guy doesn't explain much. With a quick wave goodbye, he walks away, ready to face the real challenges lurking in the shadows. Our boy is walking down the street when his sharp instincts kick in. He looks up just in time to see a massive fist crashing down from above. The mysterious attacker in a cap asks for a duel right off the bat. Without missing a beat, our guy flat out rejects him and tells him to leave. But the guy won't take no for an answer. Using disrespect as an excuse, he shatters the ground beneath him and launches a surprise attack. Right then, his friend Jaedong unexpectedly rushes over. Despite having no fighting skills, he bravely blocks the dangerous martial artist and yells at him to back off. Feeling guilty for not helping last time, Jaedong insists on protecting his bro. This touching loyalty, however, completely burns through the attacker's patience. Seeing the enemy target his innocent friend, our boy instantly blocks the strike. Since the attacker has a death wish, it's time for a one-sided beatdown. Facing the sudden ambush, our boy doesn't hold back. A clean kick sends the lackey flying, leaving his glasses-wearing buddy completely stunned. But that was just the appetizer. The mysterious cap-wearing fighter smirks. Unfazed, our guy coldly demands, "Who sent you? Li Yun-jae or Ha Tae-yong?" The assassin wastes no words, instantly erupting with blinding yellow lightning. Seeing this terrifying aura, our boy narrows his eyes, a rare lightning element practitioner. Without warning, the lightning fighter crashes down with devastating thunderous power, instantly tearing a massive crater into the surrounding street with a violent shockwave. Our boy quickly dodges the assassin's stormy combo attacks. Furious, the killer goes all out, hurling a chaotic lightning sphere that triggers a massive, blinding explosion. Just as the killer arrogantly mocks him, our guy emerges completely unscathed, gathering his own energy sphere. He has successfully awakened the pure power left inside him by Old Man Kwok. An overwhelming surge of energy erupts, sending the lightning assassin flying backward. He violently claws the ground to stop his momentum, but the battle lust in his eyes only grows wilder. What a surprisingly fun prey. The assassin laughs maniacally, lunging forward like a lightning bolt. Our boy meets him head-on, their fists colliding midair and unleashing a space-tearing storm of energy. However, as their fierce battle rages on, the scar-faced Ha Tae-yong watches coldly from a distant rooftop. It seems the true deadly plot lurking in the shadows has just begun. Meanwhile, enemies in the shadows have their eyes locked on our boy. Recognizing him, they plot to tail him to track down Coach Gu and a mysterious item. These crafty villains are calculating every move. They're even aware of the trouble his fiancée's family is causing, slowly weaving a dangerous trap around him. But there's no time to breathe. Our boy is locked in fierce combat with a notorious battle junkie who gets more excited as he bleeds, launching a devastating lightning punch. Facing this destructive blow, even our boy feels the intense pressure. The sheer force of the impact shatters the surroundings, leaving the hidden observer stunned. Seeing the maniac going for the kill, the hidden boss can't just watch. Needing our guy alive as bait, he pulls out a mysterious stone and initiates Plan B. Instantly, an ambusher strikes from the shadows with a heavy blow. It looks like they're helping our boy, but it's all part of a much darker scheme. With a third party crashing the fight, the battlefield erupts into absolute chaos. Energy blasts fly everywhere, turning a one-on-one duel into a wild, unpredictable brawl. But our boy isn't a pawn to be played. Shrugging off his injuries, he smashes his fist into the enemy's face. He might be winning this battle, but the real war has just begun. Just as the battle heats up, a mysterious attack from above suddenly sends the enemy flying. Our boy wipes the blood from his mouth, completely bewildered by this unexpected assist. He quickly jumps onto the rooftop to confront his secret helper, only to find the place empty. Instead, a chilling message left on a pillar catches his eye. His fiancée is in danger. Meanwhile, trouble has already reached our boy's apartment. Yun-jae's family members have forced their way to the door, determined to drag her back home against her will. Leading the pack is the arrogant Ha Tae-yong. He coldly mocks Yun-jae, claiming our boy won't be coming to save her because they've already sent a deadly assassin to finish him off. Hearing that her fiancé is in danger, Yun-jae is absolutely furious. She stands her ground fiercely, warning these uninvited guests to back off immediately. Seeing that threats won't work, Ha Tae-yong decides to play dirty. He ignites a lighter that releases a strange purple knockout gas, leaving Yun-jae defenseless. Will our boy make it back in time to save her? Yun-jae is completely drained from her illness, leaving her helpless as the Ha family's goons forcibly drag her away to the car. Just in the nick of time, our boy arrives like a phantom. Without hesitation, he physically blocks the Ha family's moving car right in its tracks. Inside the car, Ha Tae-young is completely losing it. They literally sent a top fighter to stall him. So how did this monster get here so fast? Not wasting a single second, our guy drags Tae-young out, pinning him firmly under his foot as he coldly demands to know where his fiancée is. Finding Yeon-jae huddled in the corner, his killing intent instantly melts away. He gently scoops her into his arms, softly apologizing for being late. Before leaving, he drops a final, chilling ultimatum to the terrified Tae-young: try to take her again and you're dead. With that, he proudly carries his girl away, leaving Tae-young throwing a massive tantrum in the dust. But just as things seem safe, Yeon-jae suddenly falls into a terrifying panic, struggling frantically in his arms. Seeing his terrified fiancée, our boy gently wraps his arms around her, reassuring her that the troublemaker is gone and she can finally relax. Taking him by surprise, Yeon-jae pulls him into a tight hug, making our guy blush. Catching her breath, she reveals that a mysterious fighter saved her at the very last second. Hearing this, our boy gets serious. He realizes this hidden presence is no joke. Anyone who can one-shot an elite opponent is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, spicy rumors of the Lee family heir begging for mercy are spreading around school. Overhearing the endless mockery, Lee Yeon-jae is absolutely fuming. After all, rumor has it that the elite assassins sent by the Lee family were completely crushed by our boy, left humiliated without even a chance to fight back. It's not just the cafeteria students outside are also eagerly gossiping about how the Lee elites got wiped out, making their whole family the school's biggest joke. Are you saying this out loud on purpose? Right as they enjoy the gossip, Lee Yeon-jae appears behind them with a death glare, making the students sweat buckets. Furious, Lee Yeon-jae grabs a student by the collar, demanding to know who started it. The terrified boy stammers that it's already common knowledge, straight from our boy's mouth. When he hears our guy's warning that he put them through hell if they show up again, the arrogant young master completely loses it, consumed by helpless rage. Meanwhile, the Lee family's goons have just wrapped up a dirty intimidation job. Seeing their target completely terrified, the leader smugly suggests it's time to report back to the boss. Over at the Lee estate, the family head is throwing a massive fit. With their elites repeatedly getting crushed by our boy, the entire martial arts world is laughing at them, which is absolutely unacceptable to him. To save face, the young master Lee Yeon-jae hatches a wicked plan. With a sinister smirk, he hands a prepared letter to the gray-haired secretary, Lee Chul-bong, ordering him to deliver it directly to Kang Tae-wook. Back at the dojo, our boy is deeply focused on his training. Following an ancient manual, he swings his father's sword, unleashing a blinding surge of lightning and energy. The sheer power is absolutely devastating. Watching his flawless moves, his fiancée Yeon-jae cheers him on with pure excitement and admiration. Our boy just smiles modestly, claiming that the sword is doing all the heavy lifting. But right in the middle of this sweet moment, the dojo doors are violently kicked open. The massive crash interrupts them, and both of them immediately turn their attention to the entrance on high alert. It's the Lee family's secretary and his suited goons. Seeing these uninvited guests, our boy's eyes instantly turn cold. Without hesitation, he points his sword at them, asking if they didn't get beaten enough last time. Unfazed by the warning, Lee Chul-bong just smirks. He pulls out the white envelope, explaining that he's not here to fight, but to deliver an invitation to the martial arts competition. It seems the hidden conspiracy is finally coming out into the open. Facing the so-called invitation, our boy bluntly refuses without hesitation. Seeing that playing nice won't work, Secretary Lee immediately drops the act and orders his men to attack. With a single command, pursued thugs drop from above. But our guy doesn't even bother dodging, drawing his lightning-wreathed sword to send them flying instantly. The remaining thugs desperately charge forward, but he effortlessly blocks them. Just then, his fiancée screams in panic, warning him of a deadly sneak attack from behind. Facing the shameless pincer attack, our boy is about to teach them a lesson. But before he can move, his fiercely protective fiancée swiftly knocks the rear attacker out cold. Their dirty tricks completely drain his patience. With a cold snort, he unleashes a fierce surge of lightning energy, sweeping away the rest of the thugs in the blink of an eye. Looking at his elite subordinates groaning on the floor, Secretary Lee is completely stunned. He just can't fathom how a mere high schooler could butcher his 3-star experts like nothing. Is your family only left with this trash? Our boy points his sword at the secretary. Enraged by the fierce provocation, the villain finally steps up to fight himself. The gray-haired guy arrogantly hurls a fireball, demanding our boy get on his knees and beg. But our guy isn't having it, instantly countering with a fierce, lightning-infused strike. Facing such overwhelming power, the villain desperately unleashes his fire martial arts. However, in the face of absolute strength, his struggles are completely in vain. Our boy's attacks grow fiercer as his past life combat instincts fully awaken. With a devastating flash of pink energy, the once arrogant opponent is instantly slashed to the ground. Coughing up blood from the heavy blow, the villain collapses. Our boy looks down coldly, teaching this fool a harsh lesson about underestimating the youth. Realizing he's outmatched, the villain drops a pathetic threat and flees with his men. Once they are gone, our boy finally collapses from exhaustion, leaning heavily on his sword. Seeing his bloody hands, the white-haired girl rushes over in panic. Our guy offers a reassuring smile, secretly thankful that his father's sword helped him secure this tough victory. Infusing his source energy into the sword left by his father, our boy watches in awe as it crackles with lightning, resonating as if it has a mind of its own. Seeing him exhausted after fighting higher realm enemies, his fiancée is full of worry. But he just smiles, knowing these intense life-or-death battles are exactly what make him grow stronger. Despite her warning that this training is suicidal, our boy's determination to uncover his father's truth leaves him no choice. Seeing his resolve, she promises to support him all the way. Meanwhile, the Lee family head is furious. He can't believe his late six-star secretary failed to capture a mere kid. The battered secretary can only explain that our boy is far from normal. Ignoring the excuses about mysterious swords, the family head is even more enraged to learn that our guy flat out rejected their martial arts competition invitation, completely disrespecting the Lee family. To secure his son's future, the cunning patriarch issues a strict order, force him to participate by any means necessary, as the tournament is their only chance to officially eliminate him. At the same time, the top executives at the Martial Arts Association gather to discuss a strange development. The Lee family is going out of their way to recommend a high schooler for the tournament. Hearing that the Lee family's heir was brutally beaten and their elite secretary failed, the association leaders aren't offended at all. Instead, they become highly curious about this mysterious Kong Tae-wook. Knowing the Lee family's dirty tricks, the executives decide to turn the tables. They agree to issue an official invitation directly to our boy. It looks like this tournament is about to get really wild. Staring at the tournament invitation, our boy hesitates, sensing a trap by the Lee family. But his fiancée gently encourages him, seeing it as a perfect chance to network. Realizing he needs connections to investigate his father's tragic death, he makes up his mind. He decides to enter the tournament, ready to play along while keeping his guard up. Meanwhile, the Lee family gets word of his participation. Hearing that the Martial Arts Association personally invited him, the old foxes wonder if the association is secretly backing our boy. However, the cunning head of the Lee family brushes it off. He promises his son to use all their resources to guarantee his victory, vowing to crush any threats completely. Back at the gym, our guy throws himself into a grueling workout to prepare for the tournament. Seeing him drenched in sweat, his devoted fiancée quickly brings him some water. Warmed by her endless support and sweet cheers, our boy gets completely fired up. With his favorite person watching from the stands, he swears to absolutely dominate the upcoming battles. After wrapping up his intense training, our boy is about to call it a night when he unexpectedly bumps into a worried Choi Ji-yeon outside. It's clear she has something urgent to say. Since she's already here, our guy introduces his fiancée, Yeon Jae, to his classmate. Instead of being awkward, the two girls quickly hit it off and greet each other warmly. Yeon Jae invites Ji-yeon inside, while our boy thoughtfully brings out some chamomile tea. Watching their natural chemistry, Ji-yeon can't help but admit they make a perfect couple. After some small talk, Ji-yeon finally cuts to the chase. She rushed over late at night just to warn our boy against participating in the dangerous martial arts tournament. It turns out his rival, Lee Yeon-jae, has been bragging about crushing him and secretly hired a bunch of thugs. Ji-yeon is terrified that the Lee family will use their dirty tricks to destroy him. Despite the well-meaning warning, our boy remains completely unfazed and refuses to back down. Seeing Ji-yeon still frowning, Yeon-jae doesn't try to stop him, but instead encourages her to cheer him on. Yeon-jae has absolute faith in his strength, reminding her that even the Lee family's arrogant secretary was no match for him. Moved by their unwavering confidence, Ji-yeon finally feels relieved. After Ji-yeon heads home late at night, our guy's fiancée playfully teases him, asking if he already knew about the poor girl's obvious crush. Faced with this sudden trap question, our boy actually panics a little. But he quickly gets serious, stating he can't afford any romantic distractions until he uncovers the truth behind his father's death. Hearing this incredibly dense answer, Yeon-jae can't help but pout. Meanwhile, in another location, a new scheme against our guy is already brewing in the shadows. On the other side of town, a worried Ji-yeon is walking home alone when an unwelcome face blocks her path. He instantly figures out that she sneaked out to warn our boy. Seeing the tear marks on her face, the villain's jealousy completely explodes. He aggressively grabs her shoulder, his words dripping with bitterness and hostility toward our guy. Refusing to back down, Ji-yeon yells that he can't even hold a candle to our boy. Striking a massive nerve, this prompts the villain to vow he'll personally tear him to pieces. Gripping her tournament ticket, Ji-yeon fiercely declares that our boy will never lose. But the villain just smirks. It looks like this upcoming competition is going to be a deadly trap. Meanwhile, the villainous young master Lee Yeon-jae is furiously on the phone, questioning his father why he sent the combat maniac Im Soo-hoon to test our boy, only to suffer a humiliating defeat. The higher-ups on the other end dismiss his concerns, coldly stating that an order has been given. They must find a way to completely crush Kang Tae-wook at the upcoming martial arts competition. After hanging up, Lee contemplates who to send as an assassin. Suddenly, the cap-wearing Im Soo-hoon emerges from the shadows, volunteering to enter the tournament and avenge his humiliation. Mocked for being wiped out last time, an enraged Soo-hoon punches the door. He argues that our boy only survived thanks to some help, and vows to destroy him in a fair arena. Seeing his rabid determination, Lee smirks and agrees to the request. But he gives one strict condition: make it look like an accident and kill our guy without leaving any trace. A few days later, the highly anticipated martial arts tournament finally begins. The massive arena is roaring with excitement as countless top-tier fighters gather for glory and power. The first round kicks off with a brutal 50-man battle royal. With deadly traps waiting for him at every corner, how will our boy smash through his enemies and claim ultimate victory? Watching the chaotic battle royale from the stands, our boy and the girls calmly analyze the rules. Anyone still standing inside the red line will advance to the next round. Down on the stage, one fighter is suspiciously being protected by others. While the girls call out the foul play, the guys in the ring finally realize that our boy has arrived. Unfazed by the provoking glares from below, our guy doesn't even blink. When the worried girls ask if he can win, he simply replies with a confident "of course." Right on cue, Lee Yeon-jae starts mercilessly clearing the arena. As the arrogant young master of a top martial arts family, he brutally knocks out his opponents, leaving a trail of defeated fighters. Watching the Lee family's arrogance, our boy already has a plan. After his fiancée warns him to be careful of hidden schemes, he confidently steps up, promising a perfectly clean victory. But as soon as his match begins, things take a weird turn. Instead of a free-for-all, every fighter completely surrounds our boy. The girls instantly realize this is a deadly trap set up by the Lee family. Seeing the unfair ambush in the arena, Yeon-jae and Ji-yeon immediately realize it's Lee Yeon-jae's doing. However, the despicable rich kid shows no remorse when confronted. Instead, he smirks arrogantly, telling the girls to keep their eyes wide open and watch our boy beg for mercy. But his wishful thinking is completely crushed. Facing the surrounded enemies, our boy shows no mercy, unleashing a devastating punch that blows everyone away. However, the intense battle takes a heavy toll on him. Gasping for air and drenched in sweat, our boy still maintains his fierce glare, unfazed by the lurking attackers. Despite his exhaustion, our boy stands tall, provoking the remaining enemies to attack together. Right at that moment, the referee calls time, bringing this rigged match to an end. Disappointed that his trap failed, Lee Yeon-jae clicks his tongue. Meanwhile, our boy steps down to his worried friends, chugging water while swearing to make the mastermind pay. Just as he catches his breath, a familiar silhouette catches his eye. Our boy turns his head in shock. Why is the battle-crazed Im Soo-hoon showing up here? As the martial arts competition enters its intense third day, the host announces a brutal new rule. The second round will be a 10-person battle royale, where only the last man standing advances. In such a format, the first to fight is obviously at a huge disadvantage. Unsurprisingly, our boy is drawn as number one in the first group, instantly drawing mocking sneers from his enemies. In stark contrast, his rival magically draws the most advantageous final spot. Even bystanders can tell this ridiculous coincidence is secretly rigged by the Lee family. Facing the condescending provocation from the VIP seats, our guy lets his fists do the talking. The moment the first match starts, he completely obliterates his opponent before they can even react. This clean one-shot victory earns wild cheers from his friends in the stands, but the mastermind clearly has a backup plan. The announcer quickly reveals his next opponent, Jean Sa. The name causes an instant uproar in the arena. No one expected a top-tier expert trained by a prestigious capital family to show up here, clearly set up as a deadly trap for our boy. Unfazed by the formidable enemy, our boy calmly takes his fighting stance. The opponent might be leagues above the rest, but the real clash of titans has only just begun. Pushed back by the fierce assault, our boy falls to one knee. Jean leaps in for a devastating strike, radiating purple energy and mocking him for even surviving this long. Unfazed by the ground-shattering assault, our guy actually praises his opponent's strength. Then, channeling his crackling blue energy, he unleashes his flawless counter, the spiral cut. The two terrifying forces collide, triggering a massive explosion. As the smoke clears, Jean is left sweating in disbelief. His immense power was completely nullified in an instant. Our boy realizes his father's secret technique is perfect against brute force, but one hit won't be enough. Refusing to back down, Jean erupts with energy, declaring the real fight starts now. The two clash again in a frantic blur of strikes. Just as Jean goes for the kill, his eyes widen in pure terror. His fist is completely trapped by our boy's iron grip. Seizing the moment, our boy unleashes another spiral cut, slamming the arrogant fighter straight into the shattered floor. The entire crowd is left completely speechless, having no idea what just happened. With Jean Sa's graceful surrender, the intense battle finally comes to an end. He may have lost, but he has nothing but respect for our boy. The crowd erupts into cheers. Ji-hyun and Yeon-jae are absolutely thrilled, cheering their hearts out for our guy's stunning performance. This victory not only proves his overwhelming strength to the crowd, but also makes the hidden enemies even more wary, secretly plotting their next move. In the arena, Jean Sa sincerely thanks our boy for the lesson, even offering to host him if he ever visits the capital. A true bond forged in battle. As the referee officially announces Kang Tae-wook as the winner of the first group, our guy returns to the waiting area, welcomed by the girls' enthusiastic praise. But our boy isn't letting the win get to his head. Taking a sip of his drink, he quietly calculates that he still needs 7 more wins to advance. Right on cue, his observant fiancée Yeon-jae pulls out the match bracket. She points out that the next opponent is just a rookie, but the one after that will be a real challenge. Yeon-jae suggests he finish the weak opponent quickly to save energy for the tough fights. Hearing her caring advice, our boy smiles confidently, promising a flawless victory streak today. His confident words make his rival Ha Tae-young grind his teeth in anger from afar. As the announcement rings out again, our guy confidently steps back into the arena. The next round of domination is about to begin. Right as the match starts, the opponent instantly surrenders, leaving our boy completely confused. It turns out innocent participants without backgrounds were brutally attacked behind the scenes. Seeing the desperate plea and the lollipop offered to him, our boy's fury is instantly ignited. He silently accepts the weighty request with a thumbs up, making a solemn promise to avenge everyone who was wronged. Meanwhile, the Lee family is throwing cash around, bribing fighters to cripple our guy. However, a mysterious guy in a baseball cap completely ignores the money and rejects them outright. Facing the angry threats from the Lee family's lackeys, the cap guy just mocks them. Due to the watchful eyes of other families, the goons are forced to hold back and let him walk away. But the Lee family isn't worried, as they've already bought off most competitors. Back in the ring, our boy faces his next opponent, a deadly 5-star shadow assassin. Just as a fierce battle is about to erupt, trouble brews in the stands. An uninvited guest suddenly approaches the girls with a sinister warning. The hidden danger is closing in. In the spectator seats, the villainous young master arrogantly claims our boy won't even make it far enough to face him. Hearing this, the purple-haired girl furiously calls out their dirty tricks. Driven to tears by the villain's mockery, she is quickly comforted by our boy's fiancé. Instead of rivalry, the two girls firmly stand together to support him. Back in the arena, the assassin suddenly unleashes his weird shadow body art. He turns into multiple afterimages, dashing at high speed to completely surround our boy. But our boy doesn't even flinch. Facing the attacks from all directions, he unleashes a terrifying aura, instantly blasting the afterimages away with a massive shockwave. Witnessing this, the Lee family elders in the VIP seats merely sneer. They still believe our boy is just using brute force and stands no chance against their carefully prepared trap. Right on cue, our boy unleashes a surge of energy, trying to grab the enemy's throat. However, the assassin dodges smoothly, using his speed to mock him from midair. Facing this provocation, our boy calmly sees right through the enemy's tricks. Since his eyes are being deceived by the flashy afterimages, he simply closes them, ready to secure the win by sound alone. Facing a lightning-fast sneak attack, our boy simply closes his eyes to dodge, then instantly counters with a fierce blast that leaves the assassin completely defenseless. The assassin collapses, coughing blood in total disbelief. He thought closing the eyes was a fatal flaw. Little did he know our guy could track every move just by listening. Looking at his defeated foe, our boy calmly points out the flaws in his shadow arts. But the stubborn assassin just leaves a cryptic warning about the trouble coming next. Meanwhile, the masterminds watching from the VIP stands are absolutely furious. However, for his old rivals, our boy's flawless victories only fuel their crazy thirst for a rematch. After effortlessly sweeping his morning matches, our guy sits down for a water break, instantly becoming the hottest topic among all the spectators in the arena. While the crowd blindly places bets on the wealthy young masters, his loyal fangirls confidently pool their money together. They know exactly who the real champion is going to be. The tournament continues, and our boy's winning streak is absolutely unstoppable. With another lightning-fast strike, he sends his opponent flying, effortlessly securing yet another dominant victory. But the easy wins end here. The girls watch nervously as his next opponent steps in a dangerous combatant who also masters medicine and martial arts. The real threat has just begun. Facing the arrogant provocation from the cap-wearing opponent, our boy doesn't panic at all, simply replying that he has no interest in guys. Instead of getting mad, the villain arrogantly declares that he will completely end our boy's winning streak right here. Losing his patience, our boy points at the guy and tells him to get lost if he's not going to fight. However, the villain acts all high and mighty, claiming he'll graciously let our boy have 4 free hits. Amused by this blind confidence, our guy tells him to cut the crap and just fight. While the villain is still busy running his mouth, our boy has no time to play along. He instantly bursts forward with terrifying speed, delivering a merciless strike. This lightning-fast attack sends the once arrogant opponent flying back in pain, crashing heavily into the rocks. Looking down at his opponent, who barely steadied himself among the rubble, our boy coldly states that he doesn't need any charity. Still acting tough, the stubborn villain raises his fingers, mocking our boy for relying on surprise attacks, and arrogantly claiming he still has 3 chances left. Before the villain can even finish his sentence, our boy leaps into the air like a ghost once again. Amidst the gasps of the audience, he delivers a crushing downward kick that makes the posturing opponent vomit blood and crash hard to the ground. Taking back-to-back critical hits, the villain finally loses his cool. Wiping the blood from his mouth, he furiously screams at our boy for daring to hit him in the face. But judging by his twisted expression, the real showdown of this fight is probably just beginning.